who owns MRTC and exactly how much does government own and what is government's role in MRTC?
Yes, yes. Actually, as you can see in the graph, MRTC is owned by several private companies. Astoria, which is really owned by the Ayala Group. Anglophil, which is owned by the National Bookstore Group. Railco Investments, Inc., which is owned by Ramcar Group. Phil Estate, our own company. And then Sheridan, which is the United Lab Group, Greenfields and United Lab. And then two minority shareholders, Emerging Allied and VBH Group. The company that owns MRTC is a company called MRT Holdings.
Yeah.
And MRT Holdings is the company that's owned by all these companies. This company, MRT Holdings, owns 100% of MRTC.
Okay. Now, out of 15 board seats, apparently government has 9 on the board, so 6 would be private representatives, including yourself.
Yes, we actually have 5 board seats. They have 9. Government is represented by 9 nominees from the GFIs, which is Land Bank and DBP. The reason they got in there was because they bought 80% of the bonds, the MRT bonds.
In what year?
This was in 2009. And so when they bought the bonds, along with it were the seats in MRTC. Now, MRTC owns the MRT3 project, owns and manages it. So it's material because government, in reality, controls MRTC, which actually owns and maintains the system, supposed to maintain the system. What government actually did was they bought 80% of the bonds, the MRT bonds. Now, all the revenues coming from the MRT3 system has actually been securitized or assigned to the bonds and the bondholders. And therefore, government actually owns 80% of the bonds and of the revenues.
Now, why did government want to own that? During GMA's time,
during GMA's time, well...
why did they want to own the bonds?
There were 2 reasons. One, it had a good return. Secondly, it was controlled and largely held by 2 foreign companies, Elliott and Goldman Sachs.
The bonds? The
bonds. And along with it, they had also nominees in our board. At that point, they got control of the board, and they actually took an arbitration case into Singapore against the Philippine government because of delayed payments of the equity rental payments.
Goldman Sachs?
Yes, Elliott and Goldman Sachs. So with that, government bought out the foreign funds and thereby taking out the threat. Government bought the bonds to take out the foreign threat because of the arbitration, and at the same time, it now owns 80% of the bonds, which have a pretty good return. That's all with Land Bank and DBP.
Now, the question now is, who calls the shots on who buys the trains?
Right now, government does. DOTC, well, you see, this is the way the BLT is structured. We build, we lease it for 25 years to government, and then it's transferred at the end of 25 years. During this time, government operates it. We are supposed to maintain it.
MRTC?
Yes, we are supposed to maintain it. And then, of course,
then they got another maintenance group.
But this is because they took over the maintenance. In 2010, I believe. In 2010, they took over the maintenance. And since then, from 2010, they were extending Sumitomo Mitsubishi every 6 months, which is fine with us, until 2012, when they actually had a new maintenance provider come in, PH Trams.
There's been talk about the government wanting to buy back MRT. Has anyone from the government spoken with you, met with you, talked with you about actually buying back the MRT?
Karen, actually, no. Nobody's actually talked to us, written to us, communicated any offer to buy. The only thing we know about it is what we read in the papers of their intentions. So
Secretary Abaya has not called you?
No, has not called us.
Not met with you?
No.
Even on the problems regarding MRT today?
Even on the problems,
So you are not in communication?
No, we're actually completely cut off, out of the loop. And that's a big problem, and that is why we're in the situation we're in.
Why would they cut you off the loop?
I'm not sure. I mean, we used to attend their meetings every month, 2012 and before that. All the maintenance meetings, we were part of it.
Yeah.
Sumitomo Mitsubishi, our maintenance provider, was doing, I think, an excellent job at maintaining it. We didn't have all these problems then. We were in the loop. We were coordinated. But after 2012, when DOTC appointed another maintenance provider,
which is APT,
which is initially PH Trams.
Okay, yeah.
We were cut off the loop.
Okay.
We couldn't inspect. We were never part of the meetings, so we lost contact with the operation.
Yeah. Now, I think the big concern that I'm getting here is that the private sector built the system.
Yes.
So the private sector owns the system.
Correct.
The infrastructure, the rails,
right.
the whole system that's MRT 3.
Right.
But you have government operating the system.
Correct.
And you are not talking.
Not as much as we should be.
Yes, you clearly are not, you're not planning together.
Yes, and
you're not.
Correct, and we should work together,
Yeah.
and that's all we want.